The classics.
Older melodies do something quite unique, and both in cinema and musically speaking. So I thought, especially in India, we would analyze some of these really magical moments that not only have been going viral, but people are super curious on why these moments resonate so much with them. So I thought we'd use our musical brains to analyze some of these scenes and the melodies behind them, because they're truly magical.
Wow, beautiful.
मैं सबके ना मुस्कान नहीं ले सकूंगा तो शर्म के मारे रूठ जाए तो मैं क्या करूंगा परियों की रानी है मेरी महबूबा.
Okay, what a scene, man.
I mean, what the fuck?
That's beautiful. Again, to begin with, though, there's a lot to dissect in such a small clip.
Yep.
Which I think is the beauty of what makes Bollywood, the classics, so incredibly impactful.
A lot of the reasons why I think people think that Bollywood is dying at the moment, because Indian cinema isn't dying. I mean, India is the second biggest film industry in the whole world.
It's thriving, baby.
It truly is thriving, and many different, now even independent productions are thriving more than ever. But I think the reason why some people feel that Bollywood is dying, it's also because in order to become a commercial in this new short content and viral era, you do have to sacrifice specific tender nuances and musical complexities that in much longer songs do provide the ability to experience as an audience, because I'm pretty sure this song wasn't a 2-minute 31 experience, which everything was in a vertical focus or with big viral moments. This was probably a much lengthier piece, because it is quite a complicated both character development scene and also musically portrayal of the scene.
Okay, so in terms of music, you have a sort of breakdown of elements, musically speaking. So the sonic space has been filled to the brim. You have strings, you have bells, you have echoes and call and responses within the same instruments.
Which helps represent that vastness of that scene, because it's a fat room, man.
It's
the room
a
is
very
huge.
big ceiling sort of room. And that reverb naturally that you would find in a big hall, that sound is very much present in the equalization of this one live studio sound.
Which creates that, what we've always rewarded a lot or discussed a ton about with even other production houses from different parts of the world that we think India does better than everyone. It creates like a 3-dimensional experience with both music, acting and storyline, and the music is very much a character or a medium to enhance the experience of the movie.
So in this particular scene, you have two components that are the main focus: the girl that stands from the chair and the man who's serenading her, right? So, but the room is filled with people, so there's a lot of micro expressions that are sort of highlighted through the musical utilization of little instruments or little flutters in the flutes, or
like whispers of people communicating.
Correct.
Or maybe, gossiping about, is she gonna do it, what's gonna happen?
Correct. You feel the tension, and that tension is being dictated by the musical complexity of the track.
I do have to really mention the warmthness of Mohammed Rafi, especially in these types of scenes. I think that's why he got absolutely farmed in Bollywood early on.
I think it's just I think you're correct about
so masculine.
But it's very comforting. The sound is very comforting. So it's a sort of sound that you want to hear when you're seeking compassion and love, and sort of like the best representation of what a male character should be.
Correct. And the female dynamic was represented deep into that symphonic arrangement of the song, which was very typical Indian melody style, even up until the 90s, early 2000s. He'll still do it. Let's have a look at the next one. This is Kishore Kumar and Lata, I think.
Oh, fabulous. So fabulous.
This is one of those movies, or not movies, scenes in which you really see a lot of the composer sort of brain at work. And this has happened a lot even later on into Indian cinema, now that we're experiencing more of it. But they really did like the utilization of percussion to create motion. My concern daily, or now, not daily, but in the modern times, is that it seems nowadays the only way modern Indian movies, especially Bollywood, knows how to create motion into movies is by having the time signature, just making it 4x4 and having a 4 and the floor beat, which is a tung tung tung
Or making it a dance. Yeah, making it a dance song.
that's a 4x4, 4 on the floor, 4 on the floor sort of beat. And also the EDM scene really grew a ton in the India at this time. That wasn't really a thing. No one really knew that because Kishore Kumar and Lata Mangeshkar, it was one continuous take. It was a live room and it was also analog. So
Yeah, you really didn't have much of a choice to like re-record a phrase or something like that. If you made a mistake or somebody made a mistake, they would have to record the whole song from start.
Do you guys remember that movie Kala?
Or the movie Chamkila.
Yes, very much like that. You know,
It's very much.
one go, you go, and there's the argument nowadays that India seems to be one of the outliers, but in other parts of the world, one of the main arguments is how come it seems there's a lack of really high quality live performers in the music scene. And part of it is because back in the day, especially in the analog era and live room era,
You didn't have a choice.
you didn't have a choice. You had to be a live singer first because you were just being recorded as you were doing a live performance. Nowadays, you can do a ton of studio trickery. Weirdly enough, India, and we've done plenty of videos on that, I think given both cultural and I think it has to do more with culture, because I think the culture in India is very much like, well, you're a singer, go fucking
Exactly.
sing. That's like being an engineer, you can't do maths.
Yeah. What I love about this particular scene, though, is that they created motion with Western-like sounds.
Yeah, that was a bongo or a conga.
Congas, which I think that's Latin American percussion, African percussion from its roots.
Yep.
So it is very different in its flavor. And it was also something that was being implemented in Bollywood as a refreshment sound, as a sound that was breaking the norm.
Fresh.
It became very utilized, yes, for sure. It became an era. But I do think that this also portrayed that happy-go-lucky.
Correct. He's not sad here. This
Correct.
is, you know,
It's a very happy-go-lucky sort of feeling. It represented the easygoingness of the character, and exactly they sort of reflected that in the styling as well as in the way that the scene was being filmed.
literally the name of the song in translation is "A Road Is Life," and there is a path of life that if it stops, then nothing. There is a path of life that if it stops, then nothing. This step that if it stops at a destination, then nothing. That's sort of it. Obviously, exactly. Don't leave me and don't go. Come back. Whether there are flames of beauty or sounds of love, the flights of free birds will not stop.
So it's a very there's a motion to it, lyrically speaking, but so they accompanied that in a rhythmical way that also represents the easygoingness of the philosophy.
And the go-getter attitude of the
Correct.
character without it having to be a fucking 4 on the floor electronic EDM track. Let's have a look at this one here. Oh, we've seen this one. Mohammed again.
It's just the romantic element of it. It's absolutely stunning.
That's Shashi Kapoor.
That's very clever. Oh, the shots though. Oh, he worships the ground she stands on. Okay. One of the most incredible things about this scene is that the string arrangement and the wind instruments are doing exactly the same as the vocal melody, but in the octave above, which represents the female response to his courting. I think that is so clever.
And you get the pizzicato right behind
Correct.
the symphony, the symphonic arrangement, which creates the butterflies, the flirtatious, the courting. It's again
the energy is so palpable in the composition of it. And here's the thing: I don't feel like modern films worldwide. I don't think modern
worldwide
films
is a
do.
big issue.
Well, they don't do this.
No.
Where like there's just such a nuance to the actual scoring system, the music making of films, and I feel like the films that become absolutely epic, like Interstellar or Dune, they have that. They have the element where the musical score was so well thought through to what the scene making could represent that it takes the experience for being something absolutely forgettable to something that is incredibly epic.
Sometimes in the movie they speak in Urdu. And interestingly enough, so the lyrics go a little like this. They go, "If I write a letter to you, those thoughts are about you. Turns into beautiful scenery views of thousands of colors. When it was morning, they turned into flowers. If night came, then they became stars. When any song echoed anywhere, it told my heart that you came. When any flower bud shined anywhere, I understood this, that you were feeling shy. When any fragrance spread anywhere, it seemed you let your hair free.
You see, and the composition actually is such a great telling, like storyteller in this aspect. It's like the music is
Catalyst.
and it's a living character.
Correct.
In the scene.
And that's the way it should be. Not just to please music heads and music weirdos like us.
No, because you don't even think about it. The
Correct.
thing is, like, you just feel how awesome the scene is, and you feel the flirtatious energy, but you don't question why it's so good.
Correct.
And that's what makes it great.
Next. Whoa, interesting.
The styling is gorgeous. Complicated.
Who are for? Good song. Wow, what a good song. What the fuck?
This is great.
That's a gorgeous melody. The music composer of that was Naushad, who we're not very familiar with, actually. But I think he passed away in 2006. Obviously, he was born in 1919. Incredibly impactful performances and incredibly impactful music style. To a certain extent, he was one of the first to brought the new trend of popular film music with classical music, ragas, folk music into Indian films. Immensely interesting.
Genius. I must say, though, in that particular scene, you had so much imagery that is conflicting. So there is a lot of confrontation coming from the older male figure. There's a lot of questioning being done by those micro expressions. She's also being put in the spotlight, so there's a point to prove from her character, and then you have a male pursuit who is who we're trying to charm ultimately. The musical composition actually presents a lot of this conflict with a abrupt change of time signature. So you have a time signature that doesn't feel continuous. You have a singing phrase that continuously changes keys, and it sort of diverts the attention from one issue to another, from one point into another.
That last phrase that Lata does is so good.
Because she's talking about love, right? So she's talking about like a confessional in love?
I think she's asking him, why fear if you're in love? Why fear if you're in love?
So
being in love is not a crime. You're in love. That's not a crime. Why should we hide and sigh? Why fear if you're in love? I think that those are the last phrases that she's saying. Pyar kiya to darana kiya.
So that you have such broad samples of complexity being explored, and the best way to approach that is, musically speaking, is with intricate changes of melody.
Also, that shot where you really, she comes from bottom up, right? And then you really see the background, but she's so shiny and sort of ethereal, like, somewhat in relation to the muse that is his love. It's so interesting because another person that does this quite well, I don't know who the director of that movie was, is Mughal Azam, the movie, directed by K. Asif. Someone else who's done this quite well lately is Sanjay Leela. He does this a lot. Like, he did it a lot in Bajirao Mastani, he did it a lot in Hiramandi, because women in a lot of those movies are essentially the muse of a lot of these warriors, aren't they?
Correct.
And it's the reason why they fight most of the time. It's for love.
Yes. And I think what is so beautifully represented in this particular scene is the
Hiramandi, different reason, obviously.
Well, but at the end of the day, I think the focus of the female figure in not physically, but what they
like
represent.
Ethereal.
Yeah, it's so, the energy is feminine.
Or similar to Bulbulea 1 in Ami Jetomari, the singing number. They do that, right? Because she is essentially, she's fucking nuts. But
in her psychotic break.
Yeah, in the psychotic break, they also do that because nothing's real, right? And let's do one more. I don't know how in depth this video is gonna be. Let's maybe do this one. This is Rekha G, I think.
Oh, she's absolutely
the perfect woman.
Stunning.
Yeah, look who it is. What the f*** she's doing?
Wow. That's beautiful. The framing is stunning. My God. All right. Off the bat.
Damn.
The sound of the strings, they're on a lower register. So they're being used as a hypnotizing sort of element.
Yeah.
So there is a attention grabbing sort of feeling to the whole scene.
Because the song is the song and the scene is somewhat lulling, like it's sort of.
It is. It's like snake charming.
Yeah, it's weird,
It is a very hypnotizing sort of lull to it.
And I think that's why she's wearing white, because she is basically the point of all focus.
Correct. And you can see it in every character that was being shot at the time in that scene. All characters, their focus, and it's so positive. Like the response is so positive in everybody that it obviously makes you have a very clear perspective that she is the moment.
Because the lyrics of the song, or the name of the song, In Ancon Ki Mastique, apologies, is called For the Intoxicating Beauty of These Eyes.
Correct. So there is
it is like a siren. You're seeing like a...
And here's why I think great musical composition is so important, because even for foreign people,
Exactly.
you are able to tell exactly what the context or the feeling of it is, because it's so obvious by the great musical composition and the absolutely phenomenal work from the actors.
And it's the best compliment, I think, to a music score or
I
a
agree.
song that you can give, in which... Because
you can understand contextually what is right.
Because you're leading with the heart and the
Correct.
emotions and how the song made you feel. Yeah, rather than some, because I think a lot of people sometimes get angry with us, and other people also love it, I guess, which is like, this is what we do, both off camera and on camera. We become immensely analytical with things, and we question everything. Why does it make me feel like that? Why do I like it so much? And then, of course, the songs that then therefore make us feel nothing, or they're just plastic, or they're not gonna get this type of fucking enthusiasm. But when they do, though, you see the magic, and this isn't just like, I guess, nostalgia baiting, or like just because they're old.
This is the first time I'm seeing all of these scenes.
Correct. We just have the information here because the song is playing and the information's next to it. But it is also somewhat of soft commentary into what I think lately we've been so critical of some of the most popular songs that are happening in India, and a lot of people do feel disillusioned or disheartened or disconnected from the current state of Bollywood. And I think most of it is because both musical scores are starting to become somewhat plasticky and adapting for the sake of both commerciality, and you do lack the moments in which you require a lengthier piece, a much more nuanced piece, a much more delicate piece, rather than a commercial hit, because you have to have the commercial hits. It's just back then these were the commercial hits.
Yeah, well, different
which is okay.
Planes,
Yeah.
though. The market demanded different things at
Yep.
the time. However, what I do think it's the moments that sort of make things, they ignite such a passionate reaction, is because they either make you question why is it so great, or it makes you question why is it so bad. And I do encourage everybody, and I say this all the time whenever I get a chance to talk to people, ask the questions. Ask yourself,
Why do you love this song?
why do you love it? Why do you hate it? Why don't you feel anything about that? Because then you will be able to sort of recognize the things that you love the most and pick them out from the crowd incredibly fast. And it makes the whole experience of movies and films and music so much better.
Let us know what you guys thought of this, and goodbye.